So jack of all trades, master of none. I don't want to see that for him because he looks extremely comfortable. I mean, basically the talk of this week since the Seattle game has been how well Andres Pete just did demolishing guys at the left guard spot. So
let me throw this out there too, not to play devil's advocate or anything, but how much of that left guard success do we think we need to attribute to the fact that he's playing between two guys who, to me, are Pro Bowl level players in Unger and Armstead? I mean, how much is that covering and helping out for him? Or is it purely him? Because keep in mind, in a zone-based run schemes, especially in the run game, you know, the players around you will make you cover a lot of flaws that a lot of people may not have known or can see that you have. So, I mean, is it necessarily him doing amazing at left guard? Not that I'm saying he's not. He could be. Or is it one of those things where he's surrounded by players who are in that upper echelon in terms of talent, and that's just making him look better than he really is at left guard?
To top out with this, I honestly think it's both. I think, you know, of course, he is surrounded by, you know, elite talent on both sides in Unger and Armstead. However, if Pete was getting destroyed, it'd be easily noticeable as well. So it's kind of hard to sit back and not, you know, and I know you're just playing devil's advocate on it, but it's kind of hard to sit back and kind of, you know, just basically wash away what he's been doing at left guard. Not to mention that, but I mean, sometimes you need that confidence, especially early that Pete's having right now. Being that you're between Unger and Armstead right now, when you can win those one-on-one matchups because guys can't, you know, focus on double teaming you. Maybe you need that confidence early, and it grows into something. You know, confidence is a very strange thing, man. You know, I always used to like to tell, you know, people that, you know, ask me for advice on relationships or whatever. Confidence is sexy. You know, it's a very amazing thing, and sometimes just having the confidence alone can make you a lot better than what you are, or if you believe you're a lot better than what you are, then you'll play like it. So I think that's a very strong thing to have, especially in the NFL. Yes, you're surrounded by, you know, basically what could be Hall of Fame potential in talent, but you definitely still have to hold your own. And if you don't, then you're the weak link on the chain. We saw what happened with Jari Evans as well. Before Jari Evans got there, Zach Street was pretty, you know, he's a pretty decent right tackle. You know, even though he's aged and is, you know, has been injured. And of course, Unger was Unger. But when Jari Evans was not there, that offensive line was getting destroyed. It's amazing how you insert somebody with some talent right between those two, and all of a sudden now the Saints went from a liability to having a strength in the O-line.
Well, one of the reasons I bring this up, and I want to get what Patrick thinks on it too, is I know I don't have the exact number off my head. I remember after week 3, Andres Pete had given up 9 pressures, which was, I think, 6th most in the NFL by linemen. And I think he's right around 14 or 15 now, something like that, where he's evened out a little bit, but he's still giving up some. So that's why I kind of want to bring that up there. I know we've had the injuries to Armstead and everything, so he has, you know, put Drew in a lot of pressure while not playing bad. And I know that doesn't make a lot of sense when you say it out loud. I mean, but by the eye test, he's doing pretty well. But then when you look at the stat sheet, it shows that he is, you know, giving up more than anybody else on the offensive line. And that's why I asked the question. To me, he's passing the eye test, which ultimately, and I know this is going to sound crazy coming from a film and numbers guy, the eye test to me matters a lot more than, you know, the analytics test of, you know, Pro Football Focus or Sporting Charts, any of those. If he passes the eye test, that's what matters. But to have that many and to lead the team, I'm not sure if he still does. I'm going off because I haven't looked it up in a while, but assuming he still does, I mean, I have to then look at it more from maybe it's the elite talent around him that is really boosting him up. What do you think, Patrick?
I'll tell you, I might have to agree with Brian on this. It's a little bit of both, but he made a good point about the confidence. I mean, he's gotten a little better each week, and to me, that's telling me that one, his confidence is growing each week, and two, he's learning. You know, he's learning the nuances of the position. You know, which, you know, it's going to take a bit from a tackle to a guard, and you know, and he's doing it under fire. I mean, the last year you could see he was swimming. He was out of shape. But when we got in the game, he was getting bowled over, you know, at times. But you don't see that this year. You know, like you said, the eye test, he's passing it. I mean, everybody's noticing it. And to the casual fan, you know, I think Pete Prisco tweeted out today that, you know, the improvement that he's made. So. Yeah, I think it's a bit of both, and like Brian said, the confidence is definitely growing, and he's getting better with it.
Yeah. Well, I said, and I didn't bring that up to necessarily dog him or anything. I'm just, it's one of those, it goes into the whole, should he stay at left guard or should he move to right tackle and just see how it goes? I mean, because I think for me, the biggest thing is that's his natural area is the left side. I mean, and anybody who's ever played offensive line knows that left tackle, right tackle aren't, necessarily an easy transition. It's not as simple as just do the opposite of what you did on the other side of the line. I mean, there are some players who are only comfortable on that side, just like there's some cornerbacks who are only comfortable sticking to one man all game long or sticking to one side all game long, and they can't do vice versa. So, I mean, that's for me the wonder is, can he fill in that right tackle spot as well as he's done at the left guard spot?
Yeah, that's a good discussion to have. I mean, like I said, this offseason is going to be telling us, read between the lines on the moves the Saints are making in the offseason, and it's going to tell you a lot about their plans for him in the future. Just to see who he bring in, because they're going to have to bring in some offensive linemen. I mean, this roster has a lot of holes in it still. They do, and it's going to be a long season, but like you said, the middle linebacker spot, a good edge rusher, opposite Cam Jordan, you can never have too many cornerbacks as we've seen this year. So there's a lot to fill in. It's just how they're going to do it. What's the priority? I think will give us a feel, what their plans are in the future. Is either keeping them there or, putting them on the other side.
Yeah, and well, I think that's a good discussion, guys. I want to, because we're already right around 7:50, I want to get into the whole trade deadline because there are several trades that got proposed by different websites and bloggers. I know two names that came up were Sheldon Richardson, three names, Sheldon Richardson, Mark Ingram, and Joe Hayden, either us trading away or trading for. And I want to get you guys' thoughts because I know Brian saw, but I definitely ruffled some feathers last week for a couple of bloggers on my opinion of their articles on people that we should either trade for or trade away. And I know Brian talked a little bit on Twitter about the Joe Hayden. I want to get your thoughts on those three players, Patrick, in terms of trading away and for. Obviously, the deadline's passed, so nothing's going to happen. But just your idea on those type of deals, and then we'll swing around to Brian.
Oh, with Ingram, I know the entire fan base wants kill him right now, but what you going to get for him? What's his value? Running backs especially, you know that. You're not going to get much for him. I mean, you moved up in the draft to get him first. You paid him his contract. Now he develops a fumbling problem. I don't think you trade him because you're not going to get value for him. As far as Richardson and Hayden, they're expensive, and you're not going to get somebody. And when going back to Hayden, he's been a little bit injured, nicked up, but I mean he's a big name, but I just don't think you pay him that kind of money he's asking for. I think the Saints should kind of reach out, see if they can do something with him. He was just too expensive. But, it would be nice, to see Richardson, in the trenches there, but he's going to command big dollars. I just, we've always been up against the cap and it's hurt us in other areas, I mean, I'm good where we're at right now.
Well, what about you, Brian?
Oh, man, where do I start with the whole trade things and what's been going on? Jeez. Sometimes I think fans of the Saints get caught up in a lot of chatter. And with any little thing that's being said, they get extremely excited because a lot of the times they don't know the stats, they don't know the history, they just know the name. Mm-hmm. And they don't even know the name that's present, they know the name that's past. So when you mention a guy like Michael Strahan, some fans don't even know Strahan doesn't play anymore. They just remember Michael Strahan.
Yeah,
and it's sad to say it that way, but if there was a possibility, the Saints could get Michael Strahan, and that's a rumor that floats around on social media, or, just basically word of mouth. All of a sudden now, Saints fans are going crazy. Oh, my gosh, they can get Michael Strahan. Well, the reality is Strahan is the Good Morning America host, and he's not a football player. But you'll have Saints fans mad that the Saints didn't make a play for Michael Strahan. And it almost amazes me. I use that analogy because the big news this week has been Joe Hayden, possibly Sheldon Richardson, as you alluded to, and maybe even getting rid of Mark Ingram in order to do that. So, of course, I use that because there's so much about Joe Hayden fans don't remember. But they hear the name Joe Hayden, they know he's a cornerback, and, basically because I remember Joe Hayden, he played at the University of Florida, and, maybe his first year he was really good, so he has to still be good now because his name is being brought up in trade talks. Yeah. Easy over there. Easy. Calm down because there's a lot you need to know about Joe Hayden. Especially the fact that he'd be yet another addition. Injury prone, massive contract, declining play. Do you really want those elements on the same team as injury prone, Jarvis Byrd, massive contract, Jarvis Byrd, inconsistent play, Jarvis Byrd? Do you really want to add that and basically the Saints came out and said they were only doing their due diligence, trying to see what it would take. So basically that's letting me know, should something arise in the offseason, we'll take a look at it. The Cleveland asking price was too high. I'm done with trying to debate and or even straighten people out because you can't tell a fan anything when their mind's made up. You've been fighting a good fight on Mark Ingram for a while now. I use the term Mark Ingram should be traded only in the idea that if you're going to make a trade, he's your only tradable asset.
Yeah.
So that is the only reason why Mark Ingram's name should ever be brought up. There were stats and numbers you used last week, to basically solidify Mark Ingram's spot in Saints history, but nobody wants to look at that. It's only the 2 fumbles over the past 2 weeks. I'm done.
Look, I know I've defended Ingram, and I'm not flipping on that stance now. And I agree with you. He's the only one of the only players that, 1, holds some form of value, and 2, had somewhat of a chance of being traded. I didn't think he had any chance, but compared to other players that have value like Brandon Cooks and Willie Snead, who are not going anywhere this year, he was one of the few that had the potential. And here's the thing that, to me, this is what it boils down to. This is why Saints fans hate Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram is the epitome of consistency, but he has not a flash in his body. He is not fancy. He is not going to bust out that Tim Hightower 28-yard run. But let me say this. Tim Hightower, and this is not knocking Hightower, he did great Sunday after Mark got benched. Great. But this is the different type of players they are. Before his 28-yard run that Tim Hightower managed to rattle off, which was a great play, good blocking, just all around, nice job, pat you on the back type play, Tim Hightower is averaging 2.4 yards per carry before that big run. He got shut down at the goal line 4 times. He was running into backs of no holes like Ingram had, but he busted that big, almost 30-yard run. So Saints fans now say, get rid of Ingram and play him. Ingram is never going to do that. Ingram and Hightower are going to be on stat sheets. They're going to average about the same yards per carry. They're both going to be right around 4 yards per carry. But Ingram's going to do it by hitting you 3 yards here, 2 yards here, 6 yards here, 8 yards, 3 yards, 5 yards. Hightower's going to do it with -2, 1, 3, 0, 30 yards, 2, 3, that type of deal. And fans want that big punch. And I think a lot of it stems from the fact that just offensively we're used to it from Drew. I mean, dink and dunk to Lance Moore, dink and dunk to Marcus Colston. Bam, there went Devery Henderson for 60 yards. And I just think everybody likes the big splash play, and Mark Ingram's just never going to give you that. I mean, he's had, 4 or 5 big runs in his whole career with New Orleans, and 2 of those came against, the Indianapolis game. And 1 came against the Dallas game where Sean Lee went out, 3 plays later, he runs a big 30-yarder, stuff like that. I mean, he's not that guy, and I think people want that guy. They want the flash that just makes them go, man, that guy's got talent. When it's not that Mark doesn't have talent, he just isn't going to just make you smile and grin and say, that guy plays for my team. I mean, Patrick, do you think that's a bad assessment?
No. I mean, what you see is what you get with him, and like you said, he's not that explosive huge back that's gonna he's gonna